The moment you try to fight an addiction, you make it 10 times stronger. That's not a metaphor. That's not a metaphor. That's neuroscience. And once you understand what's actually happening in your body, you'll never approach this the same way again. Most people believe addiction is a willpower problem. They white-knuckle through cravings, feel ashamed when they fail, and conclude they're just not strong enough. But that story is completely wrong. Addiction isn't a character flaw. It isn't weakness. It's your brain doing exactly what it was designed to do and doing it extremely well. Not someday. Right now. Let's start with the root of it. Your brain runs on one principle: survival. When you're thirsty, your brain pushes you toward water. When you're hungry, it pushes you toward food. These are hardwired drives. And addictions hijack that exact same system. Here's how it works. You drink alcohol and feel less stressed. Your brain notices that and releases dopamine, not as a reward, but as a tagging mechanism. Dopamine marks that experience as survival relevant. Ooh! It essentially flags alcohol and says, remember this, go back to this keeps you alive. The brain doesn't care whether it's actually healthy. It only cares whether it reduced a threat in the moment. Same with gambling. You're increasing your chances of gaining resources with less effort. From a primitive survival standpoint, that makes sense. Pornography mimics reproduction, which is one of the deepest biological drives there is. Processed food delivers instant energy. A donut lights up the same survival circuitry as finding food in a scarce environment. Dopamine tags all of it. And each repetition strengthens the tag. Now here's where it gets more complicated. Dopamine doesn't actually give you pleasure. Most people don't know this. Pleasure comes from opioids, a different chemical system entirely. In the beginning, the thing you're addicted to gives you genuine pleasure. But over time, the opioid response fades. The pleasure disappears. What's left is only relief from withdrawal. So you're no longer chasing a high. You're just trying to stop feeling terrible. And underneath all of this, a third chemical is building: glutamate. Glutamate is the brain's accelerator. As addiction deepens, glutamate levels spike higher and higher with each craving cycle. And when glutamate gets high enough, something shifts. The urge stops feeling like a preference and starts feeling like a physical emergency. Your chest tightens. You feel agitated, restless, pressured. It moves from I want it to I need it to I have to have it right now. That's compulsion. That's not a choice. That's glutamate. And this is exactly why fighting it backfires. When you resist, your body reads that as a threat and activates the stress system. Cortisol spikes. Adrenaline rises. Your nervous system turns up the dial. It increases the body sensation to force compliance. The more you resist, the worse it gets. Your body is not your enemy. It's trying to protect you using the only tools it has. So what do you actually do when a craving hits? Here's the technique. It sounds almost too simple, but there's real neuroscience behind it, and many people find it works in under a minute. Step 1. Rate the intensity of the craving on a scale from 0 to 10. Don't analyze it, don't fight it. Just give it a number. Step 2. Locate it in your body. Point to it. Is it in your chest? Your throat? Your stomach? Your jaw? Where exactly is this sensation sitting? Step 3. Describe it. Is it pressure? Lightness? A pulling feeling? Restlessness in your muscles? Get specific. Not, I feel awful, but there's a tight band across my chest and a buzzing in my arms. Step 4, go back to step 1 and re-rate it. Then repeat the cycle. What you're doing is pulling the sensation out of the abstract, where it has enormous, overwhelming power, and making it concrete and specific. You're separating yourself from it. It becomes something you're observing rather than something you're drowning in. And as you define it more precisely, it loses intensity, often dramatically. The craving doesn't disappear because you resisted it. It dissolves because you stopped fusing with it. This won't cure an addiction. It's a tool for surviving the wave. But it's a genuinely useful one, and it's available to you anytime, anywhere, with no cost and no side effects. Now let's talk about what you can do to support your brain biochemistry. NAC, N-acetylcysteine, is a naturally occurring compound with a long track record in clinical use. It's been studied for its ability to help regulate glutamate activity in the brain. Since excess glutamate is the chemical behind that urgent compulsive pressure, anything that helps keep it in a normal range may ease the intensity of cravings over time. Some research suggests doses in the range of 600 to 400 milligrams daily, depending on severity, but this is something to discuss with a doctor rather than self-prescribe. On the other side of glutamate is GABA, the brain's brake pedal. One way to support GABA is through glycine, and a practical option many people find useful is magnesium glycinate. You get the glycine component, which may help support GABA, and you also get magnesium, which research suggests may help reduce cortisol and dampen the stress response. When your body is in the grip of a craving and the fight-or-flight system is firing, magnesium may help take the edge off that physical agitation. If nicotine is your specific addiction, a few additional things are worth knowing. Nicotine is one of the most potently conditioned addictions because of sheer repetition. A pack a day means hundreds of reinforced dopamine tags every single day. Withdrawal can be intense for 1 to 2 weeks. Some research points to vitamin B1 and potassium as potentially useful for the specific biochemical pathways involved in nicotine dependence. Getting through that 2-week window is the hardest part, but it does get significantly easier on the other side. Environment is underrated in addiction recovery. Your surroundings are full of triggers, and triggers activate cravings before your conscious mind even registers what's happening. If sugar is your struggle, having candy bowls on the counter isn't a test of willpower. It's a trap. Remove it. Add friction to the thing you're trying to avoid and reduce friction for the things you want instead. No cigarettes in the house. Filters on your phone. No phone in the bedroom. Your environment either works for you or against you. There's no neutral ground. Sleep is probably the single most undervalued recovery tool. Deep sleep is when your brain restores its dopamine and glutamate balance. Chronically poor sleep keeps those systems dysregulated, which makes cravings stronger and impulse control weaker. You can do everything else right, but if you're sleeping 4 or 5 hours a night, you're fighting uphill. Blood sugar stability matters more than most people realize. Unstable blood sugar, from high-carb diets and frequent snacking, creates a biochemical environment that makes dopamine dysregulation significantly worse. Many people find that moving toward lower-carb eating with adequate animal protein helps stabilize the underlying system that addiction runs on. It doesn't directly treat addiction, but it removes a layer of vulnerability. And then there's oxytocin. Oxytocin is sometimes called the bonding hormone, but it might be better described as the safety hormone. When a craving hits, your brain interprets the absence of the substance as a threat to survival. Oxytocin sends a counter signal, a message that you're safe, that you're connected, that you're not in danger. Physical touch, time with people you trust, meaningful relationships, time with animals, all of these increase oxytocin. It's not a soft, feel-good afterthought. It's a biochemical counterweight to the craving signal. One specific thing worth mentioning, Lactobacillus reuteri, a specific probiotic strain, has been associated in research with significantly elevated oxytocin levels. Some people consume it in yogurt form at high concentrations. The effects on mood and social behavior can be noticeable within days for some people. It's an unconventional angle, but the research behind it is genuinely interesting. Having purpose also plays a role here, not as a motivational poster concept, but as a real biochemical input. A sense of meaning and contribution to others appears to increase oxytocin. And oxytocin, as we've discussed, is one of your best tools for calming the survival alarm that drives craving behavior. So here's the thread. Your addiction was never about weakness. Your brain learned, through repetition, that a specific substance or behavior increased your survival odds. It tagged it, reinforced it, and built a chemical architecture around it. Fighting that architecture head-on doesn't work. Understanding it does. Use the 4-step technique to ride out the wave. Support your brain with sleep, stable blood sugar, and potentially NAC or magnesium glycinate. Rebuild your environment so it stops working against you. Strengthen your oxytocin pathways, connection, touch, purpose. And give it time, because the brain does have genuine plasticity. These systems can change. The one thing to do today, the next time a craving hits, don't try to suppress it. Instead, rate it, locate it, describe it, and re-rate it. Do that cycle 3 times. See what happens to the number. Which addiction has felt most impossible to address? And have you ever noticed a technique or habit that actually made a real difference? Leave it in the comments. Poor! Real experiences help people more than any study. If you found this useful, the video on Lactobacillus reuteri and its effects on social behavior and mood is worth watching next. Some of the research findings are genuinely surprising. And if you want to keep getting content that actually explains the mechanisms rather than just the surface advice, subscribing means you won't miss it. This content is based on research and personal interest in the topic. It's not a substitute for medical advice, and if you're dealing with a serious addiction, working with a professional alongside anything mentioned here is the right move.